One of the things I'm struggling with is this idea that there wasn't a single unified command station on site. Is that atypical in your experience?
Yes, that's very atypical. I am very surprised. Normally, there will be an overall command post for the entire visit. So this is very unusual that the way it turned out here at this site.
That mission seem unusual to you, that you were outside looking in?
We didn't receive any direction from the Secret Service as far as how they wanted our sniper teams to deploy or what their actual mission would be.
Well, why not? Okay, why not? That was yesterday's bipartisan House task force, the hearing on the Trump assassination attempts. Lawmakers emphasizing the failures of the Secret Service at that July 13th Butler, Pennsylvania shooting, an attempt on Trump's life. Local officers revealing that they were on separate radio channels from the Secret Service and were never asked to put a sniper on the roof of the AGR building, where the shooter climbed up. Butler County Emergency Services Unit Commander Edward Lenz revealed a local officer was the first to fire at Crooks before the Secret Service fired the fatal shot. This is exactly what Ron Johnson told us. Watch.
An operator from Butler ESU had exited the Red Barn behind the stage and was monitoring the AGR area due to the suspicious person reports. When shots rang out, he was able to quickly identify where the shots were coming from. He observed the shooter, he shouldered his rifle, he acquired his target, and he fired one round at the shooter, which caused the shooter to recoil and briefly fall out of sight. He did this less than 6 seconds after shots began.
So up until now, it's been a mystery. It was the local cop that actually took the first shot. A local cop, not the Secret Service. Just yesterday, the Trump campaign is scrapping plans for an upcoming outdoor Wisconsin rally, reportedly moving the rally inside due to a shortage of Secret Service staff and worries that they're not protected. Joining me now is Montana Congressman Ryan Zinke. He's the member of the House Appropriations and Foreign Affairs Committee, as well as the Joint Commission on China. Congressman, your reaction?
Well, stunning. I can tell you, Maria, you know, it is stunning. And you have gross incompetence, breaking of protocol, comms procedures prior to the shooting. And then you have gross incompetence, negligence, breaking protocol after the shooting. It is stunning from bow to stern, Maria. And, you know, and look, this is gross incompetence. I am hoping it doesn't go further. But when it's this bad, Maria, when you look at all the procedures are this bad, you have to wonder, is it willing? Is it negligent? Is it intentional to be this bad?
I mean, didn't you just approve more money for the Secret Service? I mean, is there something happening here that we don't understand? Alejandro Mayorkas is the guy sitting atop all of this. He's the one who's allowed all of these migrants to come into the country, 10 million people illegal on his watch, on Biden-Harris watch. He's also the guy sitting atop the Secret Service. Is there something that we should know about? Or is this just seriously an innocent mistake?
Well, you know, I think we're going to dig a lot deeper. It is leadership, but it's leadership across the board. I mean, pick a department, Maria. When you have Secret Service, you have the border, you have energy, pick a department. It is a collection of mediocre, stunning failures across the board. You know, and we're better than this, you know, and I know Secret Service agents myself, you know, and I've worked with them, I've worked overseas, and it is stunning the lack of detail. And again, it goes down to this, is that we know there's incompetence, we know there's breaking protocol, we know there's all sorts of mistakes, but is it willing and intentional to put the President of the United States, former president, or any target that you're protecting? Is it intentional when you relieve your responsibility and you deviate so far from established protocols? Is it intentional or not? That's what I want to figure out.
Yeah. Let me get your take on the UN and the happenings today. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is set to address the UN General Assembly in New York today. There were protests across the city leading up to it, and that continues this morning by anti-Israel groups. Israeli officials say that they've killed another top Hezbollah commander in Beirut yesterday. Rocket attacks continuing on both sides of the border, and Israel's Air Force commander said that troops are bracing for a possible ground incursion in Lebanon. The U.S. and allies now pushing for a 21-day ceasefire. White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby spoke about it yesterday. Here's what he said. Watch.
You saw yesterday some intense diplomacy by our team to get multiple nations to come together and call for a 21-day ceasefire to try to bring the fighting between Israel and Lebanon to a halt. The Prime Minister knows that the people of Israel have no stronger supporter than Joe Biden. Even though he and Prime Minister Netanyahu don't see eye to eye on every issue, and that is clear, they absolutely share one overarching goal, and that is the preservation and the safety and security of the state of Israel.
That's an understatement, Congressman. They don't see eye to eye. I mean, yeah, I don't even think the Israelis are sharing information with the U.S. anymore. Let's face it, the U.S. had no idea about that pager attack, right? So Israel's not even sharing information anymore.
Well, I call him Admiral Spin Doctor, right? Remember his comments on Ukraine? You know, how our allies were so stunned at the speed and efficiency we retreated. So stunned, in fact, the British Parliament censored us. So, you know, it's Admiral Spin Doctor. No, the relationship between Israel and the United States is strained. You remember, the protests. Look, when Netanyahu spoke before the Joint Congress, remember, there was Hamas bringing down our flags in Union Station. We had Hamas burning flags at Union Station.
Unbelievable.
And what did the administration do? Nothing.
That's disgusting. Okay, that is disgusting. And Netanyahu is not backing down. He said this: let no one be confused. We will not stop hitting Hezbollah until we return our residents safely to their homes, Congressman. He wants the hostages released. He's not going to stop. The U.S. keeps pressuring him to stop. And yet, where are the hostages?
Well, you remember 9/11. There isn't a place on the planet that we would not pursue and eliminate those terrorists responsible for it. October 7th for Israel is no different. There should be no safe haven for those barbarians that went across the border and killed children, parents in front of their children, and vice versa. There should be no sanctuary on the face of this planet for these terrorists. And I stand by Israel on this. If you participate in such horrific acts, we're going to find you.
Let me get your take on China. You're on the select committee, sir. And look, we know what's going on this week. The Chinese officials are putting all this stimulus into their economy because things are not going well. Meanwhile, senior U.S. defense officials have revealed that China's newest nuclear-powered attack submarine sank while under construction, setting back their military operations as they continue to bolster the world's largest navy, Congressman. So this fight is deeper than ever. And this soft war between the U.S. and China, of course, this administration, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, have not kept China accountable, have not pushed back on any of this bad behavior. What are your thoughts on the state of affairs now, keeping in mind that we just had this huge stimulus, and it looks like this Chinese money is part of the reason we keep seeing record highs in the U.S., because there's all this stimulus going on in stocks on top of the optimism about the Fed in the U.S.?
Well, is this administration keeping track? I mean, just remember the words of Harris during the debate. She didn't realize that we didn't have combat troops in combat zones. I mean, special forces are in 65 countries. So the vice president of the United States doesn't know we're engaged in combat with our own troops across the globe. And China remains a threat. They are the largest navy. They have 160 dry docks that are capable of an aircraft carrier. We have just 4. Just number of holes across. If they sink or 1 or 2, and they still have plenty more. So, China is an emerging threat in the Pacific. You've seen their actions, and they view the United States, quite frankly, as weak.
But what are we doing about it, Congressman? I mean, are we increasing our defense spending? Are we increasing our efforts in our Navy? I mean, what are we doing about it? Are we just going to wait until China makes a move on the United States?
Well, I'm hoping November will turn this ship around. Because right now our military is not doing well, both personnel and equipment and techniques. And quite frankly, we got to catch up. The battlefield changes quarterly. and we're having a hard time pivot our equipment and machinery, probably in 5 years.
That's very disturbing.
We got to change the way we do business.
That's incredibly disturbing. Congressman, we're going to keep watch on that. Thanks very much. Ryan Zinke joining us.